We are back with another episode of our COPCast podcast series in which we are interviewing our good cop experts that have joined us in Panama to counter the WHO's Bad Cop Conference of the Party. We have the Conference of the People, and I really love this next person that's joining me. I've got Tomás O'Gorman. He's from Mexico, and he's actually with the International Network of Nicotine Consumer Organizations, or INNCO is what everybody knows it as, and they've been doing a lot of really good work, so he's going to talk about that. So can you do us a favor and introduce yourself to the listeners and kind of talk about your THR journey and how you got to be where you are today?
Thank you, Lindsay. Yes, thank you for the introduction. I am Tomás O'Gorman from INNCO. I'm from Pro-Vapeo Mexico. I am a consumer. And what got me into THR and advocacy was that I was a smoker as I guess every other advocate trying to do this good work. And I found myself quitting smoking rather swiftly after about 3 weeks of using an e-cigarette. And I thought that, there were a lot of Tomases out there and that they should have the same opportunity I had by finding this product. And I got a little bit angry about the misinformation that was being spread in that time, in 2016 in Mexico. And actually I found out that vaping was banned in Mexico already, because e-cigarettes have been banned in Mexico since the enacting of the tobacco law in 2008. And that's what got me.
The first country to ban them, correct?
Maybe. The thing is that they didn't expressly ban them, but they took this article that is very similar to the Western Australia state tobacco law that says that any non-tobacco product that resembles or is similar to a tobacco product should be banned. And that's under that provision, which I believe was invented to ban, cigarette-like toys and things like that, and branding from the tobacco companies.
Candy cigarettes.
And they used it in that time to ban e-cigarettes. And then our current president decided to ban them expressly by a national decree. And now they have tried to ban them in the law, which they haven't been able to do. But now the president is trying to ban them in the Constitution. Amazing.
Yes, you've been mentioning that. So can you talk a little bit more about why there's this complete disdain for e-cigarettes in Mexico? And maybe, I guess, I know it, but can you tell our listeners a little bit about how Michael Bloomberg has influenced a lot of policies and way even farther than just tobacco? I know he was behind your salt tax and so soda bans and everything. So,
I guess this disdain or this opposition, strong opposition to vaping, is very easy to understand. Anti-tobacco NGOs are all in Mexico are easily linked to Bloomberg funding and to Bloomberg funded foreign entities. And when you see a politician doing some kind of anti-tobacco work, he's always accompanied by these people. And if you listen to the Mexican delegate presentation at the COP in the first day, he actually said that Mexico had the support of the Bloomberg initiative. So if you ask me, it is easy to understand that Mexican authorities and the people with the power to make regulations and to make decisions are being influenced by this anti-vaping stance of Bloomberg entities. It's crystal clear. Even 2 or 3 years ago, there was a law bill that was going to be used to ban e-cigarettes in the law. And what the reporters found out that it was that the analysis of the project that should have been made by diputados, by Congress people, within the congressional work, within the Health Commission, the draft was actually made by a lawyer working for Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids. At least that's what the metadata of the PDF file showed. And this law didn't pass because there was quite
an uproar.
It was a small scandal because it was a foreign NGO doing the work of the Congress people.
Yep. Yes, and it's kind of alarming. I noticed that, like with our Good Cop conference, we've got 14 countries represented among all of our experts, and everybody knows who Michael Bloomberg is, and then a good majority of them have actually been impacted by policies that he's spearheading around the world. He's almost like a little bit of a dictator in a sense, but disguising it as philanthropy. It's just really alarming. So with that, like, what do you think what's going to go on in Mexico in the future? Like, what do you see over the next year? Anything happening? Are you helping to mobilize consumers and educate the lawmakers on? Mostly, it's just fighting the misinformation rather than really educating them.
Yes.
It's a lot of defense.
The thing is, regarding this proposal to amend the Constitution, I am quite sure it's not going to pass.
Yeah.
I mean that it is very, very absurd that even they put e-cigarettes next to the word fentanyl.
Yes.
So I think it is not going to pass. But the thing is that misinformation does not only affect society; it is also affecting lawmakers because they are not a specialist. They don't. Sometimes they appear. I hope they are not, but they appear to be kind of lazy because they don't go into the subject. They don't study. They just follow what they hear. And if you see, the government is always publicizing information regarding vaping, making it appear very, very bad, very toxic, whatever. And the legislators are not looking for other sources of information. And for us consumers and advocates, it's kind of complex to go with the diputados, with the Congress people and the senators, because they tend to reject you. And let's be clear. I mean, Mexico has a lot of problems that are worse than tabacism and vaping, than smoking and vaping. So it is not in their agenda. I mean, it's in the president's agenda, but I believe he's using it just as a distractor.
Yeah.
Eventually, we hope. I mean, we have had some very good meetings with lawmakers and with some of their advisors. And I think this is, this kind of job that you just have meeting after meeting after meeting, and you start changing the way of thinking, and they see that other things are happening in other countries. And my guess is that after this year, because we are in an election year, after this year, things might start changing, because prohibition is not something accepted by the people, by the population. They don't believe in it. We are a country that suffers the problems derived from the drugs prohibitions. Mexico has a very.
Well, I know we just banned, menthol cigarettes in California, and I know that there's the big, it's very lucrative for Mexican,
yes.
Criminal networks to, they just got a big cash crop on that with the prohibition. Yeah, that's what happens. There will always be actors who are willing to provide for the market.
Yeah. And in Mexico, the drug cartels seem to be taking the business of vaping. And there was a very sad news a couple of weeks ago where some young guys from a university, a couple of students that were selling vapes, they were attacked by what it's apparently it's people from the organized crime, and they use some boards to hit them. They strip them of their clothes and make them walk nude in the streets of that city.
Oh, for selling vapes.
For selling vapes.
And it was organized crime that did that.
It seems to be.
Not the police. Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
but not because of selling vapes, because they are considered dangerous. It's because this crime organization was the one that took the business, and they were stepping in on their business. Exactly.
Yep. Oh, wow. That's insane. Well, I told you I wouldn't keep you any long, but I have one last question for you.
Yes.
Since, we're here, we're 2.2 kilometers away from the convention center. I just found that out. What's your message to any of the delegates, and what's your message to, to your delegates specifically, and also just to the WHO and the FCTC in general?
Oh, the message, it's very clear. They should start thinking in the people and the needs of the smokers. They have abandoned the smokers a lot of years ago. And if they want to make a change, the first change is that they have to reevaluate who they are listening to. The delegates from LMIC countries tend to consider WHO and the FCTC like some sort of Bible, some sort of word of God to be followed without any questioning. And if they are not, if they don't see how they are affecting smokers in their countries, if they don't see how their smoking rates are not going down, even though they are applying all these measures that have been designed like 3 or 4 decades ago, they should start questioning if they should follow, if they have to follow WHO mandates, because in this regard, I mean, because it is not simply working, and I don't know what is more important for them, if the awards granted by WHO or the people of their countries.
Exactly. That's what's really alarming about it. And I think a really good message is we need to get back to the people who smoke and caring about those 1.3 billion adults, not the youth. Well, thank you, Tomás, for coming onto the podcast, and thank you for coming down to Good Cop, and representing Mexico. And we're really excited to have you. Listeners, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of our COPCast podcast. Make sure that you check out all of our other podcast episodes and that you're checking out our live stream of our Good Cop conference in Panama. Thank you.
Thank you.